Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the Men's Lounge. Definitely it's 9 p.m. on a Thursday, and what do you expect? I'm going to come here to bring you all kinds of discussions. Today, we are talking technology. We are discussing technology and business, and you'll be surprised that the amount of information that you and I may not even know, but we are about to unveil a lot of things today. And so I just want to say a big welcome to all of you for waiting to listen to us. Feel free already and join us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. At ETV Ghana, you can find us, especially on Facebook at ETV Ghana, you can find us, okay? And then let your messages start coming already, because we are discussing IT, a lot of IT stuff and business. And so let your messages start coming on our WhatsApp console, which is 020-2222-054. I repeat, 020-2222-054. My name is Nanaya Odame, your host. I'm going to go on this first break. When I'm back, I'll introduce my guest, and we'll take it from there. Please stay with us. If you're just joining us, we are in the lounge. It's Men's Lounge, and we'll be discussing technology and business today. So let me just remind you that across all the Global Media Alliance broadcasting platforms, we are in the tech month. Okay, so GMABC, we are in the tech month. So technology is transforming businesses, and it's becoming a fundamental requirement for a successful business. The biggest question in the minds of most entrepreneurs, business owners today, is how businesses can use technology to gain competitive advantage. On the lounge today, as I already mentioned, that's what we'll be discussing. Now, I have two gentlemen with me, very handsome-looking gentlemen, and I'll be introducing them shortly. So one of them is Andrew Tete. Andrew Tete happens to be the regional IT business partner, GB Foods Africa. We all like to call him Andy, you know. Let's keep calling him Andy. Maybe in the next 5 years, we have to call him some other kind of Andy, but it's Andy, yeah, Andrew Tete. So, and then I also have Josiah Eisen with me. Josiah is the CEO, stroke founder, iSpace chairman, Ghana Hubs Network. Josiah has a big profile. You should do some research on both gentlemen. They are awesome people, and I'm glad they are in the lounge with me today. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
COVID has made it difficult. That I will be doing all the skills, handshakes and all that. But it's okay. We'll get there. It's our prayer that COVID runs away. And that makes me also remind you that the vaccine is around. If you have not been vaccinated, I think it's okay that you also get vaccinated. It's important. The beginning of vaccines are always the ends to pandemics. For me, I keep saying it. So let's get vaccinated. It's very important. Guys, welcome once again.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Andy. Good to see you, Eisen.
Good to see you too, sir.
How have you been? The week? Tough?
Not bad. So far, so good.
So far, so good, eh?
So far, so
It's
good.
been busy, but I think it's been good.
So people like you do sleep at all?
Well, I don't.
You don't?
Yeah, I don't really.
Yeah.
Just have like sporadic an hour here, that type of sleep, but fully sleeping, no.
Fully, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Andy?
I think I can say it's limited in my case as well. I mean, yeah. You know, it's the time. You know, it's the demand for technology and associated services. It makes it mainly impossible.
I don't blame
for
you
to
when you
have
want to live like a robot. It's
sleep.
okay. I can understand. I mean, yeah, you want to live like robots. So. Anyway, so these are very cool guys who have tons of information to give us today. So let's go straight to the point. And maybe I should start asking by this question. So I told you earlier, I mean, backstage when we were discussing that, we'll look at the pre-COVID and then the post-COVID era a lot. But for now, let's try to look at what's important or what technology is to start with. What is technology? Technology, what is it?
Okay, so for me, I think strip it down. It's just a tool that enables you to achieve a certain goal.
Okay.
Right? See, so even a farmer holding a cutlass, that cutlass is the tool that he's going to use to cut something. That is the technology in itself. But I think people always look at technology as, you know, gadgets and software and all of those other things. But technology in its basic form is a tool that enables you to achieve a particular goal.
So listening to you, I would be right to say that we probably derived technology from technique then.
Well, I guess so.
Of
doing
technique
something.
Of doing something.
Right.
Andy, do you share that with him?
Well, I think I share that, but in this discussion, I would like to look at technology more in the space of business. That technology has become more like the platform on which business is hinged currently. Most businesses, they are hinged on technology currently, and I think that becomes an influential tool in decision making when it comes to business and in service and all other forms of activities that are related to business. So I'm looking at technology in the context of business in this sense. Yeah.
Do you realize that a good number of people hearing technology think is computers?
Right.
Yes.
Why is it so?
Because I think that's how we've been programmed to think. Right? So when you think technology, automatically you think computers, right? And because even when you look at TVs, you look at the cameras and everything else we've got here, those are technological tools, right? But then, like you said, you think about technology. When you think about technology, you think computers only. And I think that's where the conversation needs to stop, really.
I see. So how important is technology in business today?
Well, clearly, I mean, as I said earlier, technology has become more or less indispensable when it comes to business on both ends of the divide. So let me start by saying, okay, so when we say technology in business, we are looking at internal and external. Internally, people are using technology to drive business processes. So when you go into a company, I'm sure the finance department is using a technology tool. We have service department, customer service, everybody's on a technology tool just to increase efficiency. When you go external, when they want to connect to their customers outside, they want to use technology. They want to use apps. They want to use machines like ATMs. They want to use mediums. They want to advertise online. They want to use platforms to get into their consumers. So basically, yes, I'll say that yes, technology is quite critical, both within the organization and outside the organization.
Hazen, you share that with him?
Yeah, I do. I think once people recognize that fact, you realize that the technology that you use internally is entirely different from what you use externally. Because as an organization, you respond to what your customers are using, right? And again, you find some companies that want to scale in technology-wise, but then end up getting platforms or tools that are not conducive for them to use at all internally. Hence, it will crash your business, right? See, so if you're using technology for business, then again, look at the efficiency that you want to achieve. That's one. Are you using it as a communication tool? Those are the things that you need to look at before you even engage with technology. So for me, technology in business is to make efficiency, to optimize performance, and also ensure the communication is fluid.
And so I suspect that then it means you would have probably identified a particular idea or problem that needs that solution to become the technology that, let's say, I mean, just as we said, so the tool and then the technique to run a problem that you have noticed that you take care of, if I understand what you're both saying really well. I see. So in that regard, it's beginning to sound obviously that this whole technology in business is used to make it better.
I think it's used to make it efficient. Rather than, because if you use the word better, as if human interactions were already problematic. It's just made it more efficient. And it made it more accessible in that sense, because you can scale. So imagine a team that has people on the field, right? Whether you sell, your sales team will be on the field. Again, them being on the field, being able to access information in the cloud to be able to give a customer real live information, that's the efficiency there. So I think it makes it much more efficient rather than better. Yeah.
I see. So I suspect technology then is used probably to gain competitive advantage, in business.
Yes, looking at the word scalability and automation, I think that is probably.
So how can that be achieved? How do you do that?
Well, we are talking of a system whereby, with the use of technology, you're able to reach more. You're able to go more and reach out to more masses.
Yeah.
When you're using technology, you're also able to automate a lot of processes that prior to technology, might have needed a lot of manpower and less efficiency. So definitely, we are talking of automation. of business processes, and currently a lot of robotic implementations or robotic processes are going on, especially because of COVID. And outside that, we have scalability. It helps you to scale. The moment I put my product on WhatsApp, or I put it on Facebook, looking at 1 billion people who can access it, who can get back to me and say, look, I want this. Let's not even talk about e-commerce. But yes, that is the kind of scalability that technology brings.
You see, that's this whole thing you have said scares me a lot, but I'll come to that. No, seriously, I'll come to that. So, Asen, Andy has said something here. Do you buy into that, or is there more to it?
Okay, so even if you break it down to the simplest form, take a farmer. You have, let's say, 10 acres of land, right?
Yeah.
But you were using a cattle to plow the land. Then somebody else is using a tractor to plow the land, to plant the seeds, and then cultivate the seeds, harvest the seeds, put them in a bag and sell. Which one of you two do you think will get productivity, right? Get product to the market on time and get more money in that regards? Is the one
the
with
latter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, so that's where the competitive edge comes in, right? So that's what technology does. And I get why you'd be scared when you think about the fact that, yes, now it's accessible. People can put anything out there.
Yeah.
And you get people now take a picture of something, put it on WhatsApp, and they think they're running businesses.
Yeah.
That is the problem, right? Because technology is giving everybody the tool to then expose whatever it is that they sell into people. But are they still doing business structures? Maybe not. They just selling. And I think that is the downside of technology, in the sense that we've created a lot of people that want to do business, but do not have business sense, quote unquote, or business knowledge in that sense. So yeah, I think that's where technology kind of is a bit dangerous, because we've created a lot of wannabe business people.
So you see, that's actually one. But let me tell you why it scares me. Okay. So I sit here now, and let's take COVID aside, because then I don't think we are trying to say that if COVID hadn't happened, technology wouldn't have advanced. It still would have, without or with or without COVID, isn't it? So that's why I'm saying, fine, I'd like to put COVID aside on what my issue. But my issue is this. You know, a lot of other African countries, not only Ghana, are seen economically as a developing nation. Okay, and of course, if you look at macroeconomics and some of the characteristics, that is where you find a country like Ghana. Okay, and looking at the characteristics, you know that we're definitely a developing nation, and so there will be some level of unemployment. Now, my question here is that we are embracing technology. Yes, it's good, okay, because it makes things, you know, what's the word again? Efficient, and it grows faster, and all that. It speeds up business. We understand. But you see, my problem here is that it scares me, because I feel it's also causing unemployment to some extent. I'll give you an example. Typically, one of the banks I'm very much aware of, okay, is about to roll out a whole system that can accept your check, just scan the check, and certify. Once it's certified, your cash is paid out without a person. All right? You see, it's addressed the problem. It probably makes the system more rigid and even more efficient and effective. But somebody's losing their job. And this is where my fear is.
Well,
unless there's something you want to tell me, but this is where my fear is.
I think we can look at it at both sides. You know, technology is also creating a whole new industry. I can also tell you that, of course, now we have more than, MTN alone says they have more than 30,000 people as mobile money agents. That is employment created by technology. And it's the same across Africa. When you go to Kenya, Safaricom is doing the same. When you go to South Africa, MTN is still there. In the French countries, Orange Money is also creating a lot of business and a lot of employment. Although, yes, so it's more of a substitution effect. So definitely, yes, there will be some trade-off based on the kind of skill set that is available. When you go to the Western countries, when you go to France, there's nothing like mobile money, because you have a seamless business system. They have a seamless banking system. So yes, I've been there. I was with my colleagues, and I realized that, look, the way mobile money was, the ish in Africa.
And it's still the ish.
It's still the ish. There was nothing like mobile money, you know, because they have a seamless banking system. So they don't really, so yes, I would say yes, it's creating an industry. Maybe not and we're not in the area of teller. But as a developing country, I think we should be moving towards more technology abreast kind of stuff instead of thinking that, okay, we want to have more tellers in the system or more people who are not maybe technology abreast in our system. I think that is what we can do.
Josiah seems to have something.
Yeah, I think the problem is the human problem, right? So people kind of refuse to grow, both from an educational point of view. So I call it soft skills, right?
Yeah.
Now, some people get a job. So we like cattle as human beings, right? So they put you through school, you get your qualification, you get a job, and you think that's it, right? But in reality, like you said, technology is coming. You should be aware of the trends that are happening in your sector, right? You should be the kind of person that is always learning. So you go online, you learn, you find out new things that you can develop that will help your employee, right? To also become more efficient, productivity. All those things help. So that when it comes to the time where technology moves in, like this check that you're talking about, right? You will find that maybe if you're creative with marketing or with customer service and all of that kind of stuff, you won't lose your job. You will actually be moved up because you have the creativity. When customers complain, you set up systems in place for your employer to keep you. So you get rid of because you haven't grown. If you grow in the sector that you're in, it's very hard to replace you because remember, who creates technology is human beings. Technology doesn't create itself. So in a sense, no matter how much advanced that we get, we're still going to need human beings to then do the advancement. So you, in your job as a teller, you should have thought about, wait, hold on a second. People come here every day with checks, is delaying them, it causes too much havoc, people, blah. So why don't you sit there and think, oh, if my company came up with this kind of system that allows people to do A, B, C, and D, it makes it more efficient. There's less complaint. Customers are happy. We get more customers. If you are able to decipher that and then go to your management and put all of that on table, do you think if they bring that technology, who do you think is going to manage you? You, because you came up with that concept, right? See, so even in your job, analyze the trends that is happening in that job because technology is always going to be with us, whether you like it or not. But it's about using that to then enhance the job that you do so that when these changes come, you will not be replaced.
And if I can just...
If
I can just come, I think I agree with him. It's a skill problem. It's our educational system or our human capital development system that we have to look at. I've had a lot of discussions on radio, I think about a month ago, about lack of Ga teachers and Twi teachers in school. And I asked myself, if my child doesn't speak Twi today, what is the effect? Because in other places, you are having students doing machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, robotics at very tender ages. But here in Ghana, or maybe some parts of Africa, we are thinking of we can't get Ga teachers. I'm not saying it's bad. It's good to keep our culture. But looking at the trend, is that priority? If somebody speaks Twi, if I speak Twi, even if you tell me, okay, we are looking for French teachers, we are looking for Spanish teachers. But if you tell me that, oh, it's so huge, it's something big. If my kid speaks Twi or Ga, I mean, it ends here. So I think, we should look at the trend and find a way to adjust, because that is where we are going. We are not going to go back. There is no way tomorrow they'll come, okay, there's too much technology, so let's reduce the technology. I'm going to have that. Yeah.
Well, so if you're just joining us, we are in the studios, the Men's Lounge, discussing technology and business today. And it's beginning to seem as though, let me not even go there. But I would have said, I was actually going to say that, so until you're able to find the tree name for sulfur, or hydrogen. Maybe from there we can start.
but then that's also because of the fact that, but then the argument is because we are chasing external technology. We're not growing internal technology. Right? As a nation, we are not growing internal technologies. So we're then going to be responding. We're always reactive to what is happening, externally, right? When we should look at what applies to our ecosystem.
We always fail to look around us.
Exactly. Because, I mean, you were talking about this mobile money thing, right? And even as somebody that's in tech, I'm very much against all of these things. Reason being is we're leapfrogging everything, right? We don't build an infrastructure for anything. So we think mobile. So because, I mean, when it rains, your network goes down, right? when it rains, electricity goes down. All of these things are basic infrastructure that any country needs to have in order for us to be able to then be productive. The likes of the UK, the France and all that, they have all of these systems in place that allows them to do that. So we shouldn't really be jumping up and down because we are, mobile ahead of the rest of the reason why we are mobile is because we've forgotten about fundamentals, which is infrastructure.
Well, a huge point made over there. Let me just take a break. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are still in the lounge discussing technology and business today. I still have in the studio with me Josiah and then Andy. We are doing justice to the topic, really, giving out so much information. So, like I said earlier, feel free to join us on all our social media platforms at ETV Ghana, and also let your messages keep coming. 02022222054 02022222054. Later on, I'll open the phone line so that you can also call, contribute, ask questions, and then we'll see where we can pick it from. So, guys, we are back. So, when we started, I did speak about the COVID, before COVID and then after COVID. Now, let's look at technology in these two divides. I don't think the technology wouldn't have advanced even if there was no COVID. It would have. But then let's look at the impact of technology on businesses pre-COVID and post-COVID.
You want
to go ahead.
So I think pre-COVID we were happy just going along because all of these platforms already existed. We were not just applying them the way they were meant to be applied, right? So when you take, let's say, Zoom, for example, and if I'm allowed to mention the name, if not, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was already there, but people were not using it the way they were meant to use it. But the moment COVID happened, everybody was forced to do what? Meetings online. And the typical thing where you realize that, oh, I don't really have to physically see you anymore. I can actually hold a meeting with you, right? And I think this whole COVID situation made us much more efficient because now you're having 8 or 9 meetings in a day as opposed to 1, 2, 3 because of traffic. You start in traffic, you can't meet somebody. And it's actually making people much more given time management, right? So 9 o'clock, you have to be ready for your meeting and all of these other things. You can talk to people, outside. You can hold group meetings, people working remote and all of those other stuff. So these things were already there, except that we were not forced into it. But COVID forced that change, right? It's evolve or die. And businesses that were smart enough to incorporate technology into their normal day-to-day services ended up surviving. So when you look at logistics companies, service companies that attach themselves to a mobile app and then it was easier for you to order food or whatever the case may be, are now surviving. The ones that were not technologically savvy will not survive. When you look at the education system, teachers now had to teach from home. So that tells you that this could actually be done. We just did not want to do it or did not see the urgency. So for me, COVID coming in has really made the way we look at business totally differently.
Different. So what has been the impact? Positive, negative?
For me, it's positive.
Positive.
Generally positive. I think, prior COVID, there was this latency towards the demand for e-commerce. And all of a sudden it got scrapped and there's a massive surge for demand for e-commerce. You see a lot of delivery companies spinning up in this country like that. So yes, definitely. And all these things are pinned on connectivity. So you can also see that there's a lot of CapEx investment going towards this direction by the big nuts like the MTNs, the Safaricoms, the Orange of our time.
They have made all the money.
Yes, so they have made all the money. So at the end of the day, yes. So at the end of the day, yes. Post-COVID, they are still going to make money because you can still see that they are still hanging in there. They are still on top. It's a very sustainable infrastructure, a very sustainable investment that they've made over the time. That is not going to come. That's not going to be seasonal. Yes, so let me give you a story. Yesterday, I think I was in the car. I left my nose mask at home. So I was buying a nose mask from traffic. So the lady, I wrote down, the lady was like, oh, it's 1 cedi. I was like, wait, nose mask is now 1 cedi? I was shocked. You know, the price used to be around 3 cedis or something for one.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I opened it, there were 3 of them inside. So it means like 30 pesos. So yes, this is a business that is something that the demand is not sustainable over time. Yeah, but the impact of COVID has brought infrastructure that will be sustained over time. And I think generally it's businesses that are going to benefit because the demand for both hardware and software has surged up greatly over this time, and the impact has been positive for both businesses and then technology providers.
But you'd agree with me that certainly some businesses and sectors have also suffered a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I mean, technology, for me, hasn't done much in addressing or
but
helping those sectors or businesses.
Was the problem technology, or was it infrastructure, or was it human problem or investment problem?
So you see, you're asking the right questions. But my point here is that comparing the two era, like pre-COVID, post-COVID, some have been able to survive. Obviously, we don't expect all to, though we wish all survived. In an economy, you want everything to be okay. Some couldn't. So if technology had sped up, operations and structures in businesses to make it keep above the water, what happened to the others? Is it that technology could not, or the people did not explore, or?
For me, it's the people. Right? And again, we were talking about infrastructure. The data suppliers or providers made more money, right? Because we had to be online.
All the money.
Right. So when you look at, let's say, filmmakers, people were streaming films, we were home, and, they made money. So had it been a situation where I think they exploited the situation. So businesses that could no longer afford data because it became much more expensive for them will collapse, because now you're not investing no money into marketing, you're actually investing into getting data to keep your offices, your employees at home to do remote work and all of those other stuff. Now, businesses that were not set up for people to work from home, let's say if you bake bread, for example, and everybody had to stay at home, right? Then you have to shut down, right? See, so it was actually more of your customer response need that made you shut down rather than technology. Now, you baking bread, maybe you could scale down your team a little bit, and again, partnered with the logistics company, created a platform, a WhatsApp platform where your old customers can then order the bread, so then you're not losing orders because they come to WhatsApp, order it, you bake, you deliver to them, and it's seamless. But then if you're still entrenched in the fact that you didn't collect customer data, there's no way you can contact your customers. You didn't know whether they want to order anything. They can't call you before they had to walk in.
You definitely go out of business.
Exactly. See where technology would have helped you if you'd have just kept a simple thing as a WhatsApp group.
But that's a point you have made. Even though I'm still wanting to say no, but
it depends on the industry. When you take an industry like the hospitality industry,
I was actually going to come to that.
That was thriving on travelers, and the airports get closed.
It wasn't thriving on only travelers.
Yeah, mostly. There were mostly. I'm talking of course, the guest houses, the smaller hostels. Yes, they can have locals going there from time to time, but the big ones, the Movenpicks, the Kempiskis of our time, yes. For them, they were mainly dependent on travelers.
Yeah.
So the moment the lockdown came in, of course, they were hit. And because they needed human movement to be able to move, they had to fall on other services. So those who were able to innovate on those other services, there were some who were thriving on their restaurants, some who were thriving on their laundry services. They tried to rather scale up other services that were providing other than the rooms. They were able. But a company like Airbnb, although it's also in this same space, was doing extremely well.
Because it's cheaper.
Its just was astronomical.
Right, but it was cheaper. So all these big hotels, somebody in the marketing department should have come up with lockdown services, right? So you can actually rent our rooms as locked down, so you can leave your house, come enjoy hotel services at a cheaper rate, so you can be locked down in a hotel room for you to get the experience. They could have made money. So it's about innovation, having creative marketing
So then it
ideas.
still comes back to the people.
It comes back to the people. It's not technology. Because if your rooms are empty and you're so stubborn and say, you know what, I'm not going to give the rooms for, you know, $50 a night or whatever, I'm just going to sit here. I would have been happy to just go and get locked down for 2-3 weeks in a hotel, chilling, right? That would have given you money. $50 a night or whatever, that would have given you money. There's people locally that could have stayed in those hotels, but they insisted on relying on external travel. So again, evolve or die, or be creative and survive. So it's the human problem. It's never technology.
Okay. I also think that some businesses, entrepreneurs, people generally think technology is expensive.
It is.
Is it?
It is. Technology is expensive.
Not part of the
Particularly,
world, I say yes.
generally, but in our part of the world, it's expensive. For me, I think even across the world, it's expensive. But when you look at Europe, they have mechanisms set in place to make it a little bit seem cheaper for the average person, right? So people have credit cards that they can, you know, basic things like domain name, for example, domain registration. If you pay a year in advance, an average person has to pay back 1,000 Ghana cedis, register it, to then get an email, $6 a month, and all of those other stuff, right? So if you convert $6 a month into cedis and you have 10 people working for you, that's close enough to 400-500 Ghana cedis every month for just receiving emails.
Yeah.
So if you can't afford it, then it's a problem. But in the West, because people have credit cards, they're able to do that. So I think it's expensive because we internally have not advanced in our own services. Imagine if we had local companies that can, you know, provide all of these domain services, you know, email and all of those other things. It would have been centric to our environment and cheaper. So technology is expensive, but it's just the fact that we are buying our services externally. The cloud services, the servers that we need are all in San Francisco and all of those other places. And of course, they have to pay in dollars. So if you want to use our services, you have to pay in dollars. And that's what makes it expensive.
So then,
I think, yes. Well, to say it's expensive in a blanket form, I think it's a bit, you see, even within technology, there is innovation currently in the world that is aimed at reducing costs. One of them is cloud technology. So because of cloud technology, it means you don't have to go and buy a physical server, get somebody to come and take care, manage the server, get an AC, you know. So even within technology, there are ways that, for businesses, there are ways that there are services that are being provided to make it cheaper. Further to that, when it comes to consumers, I still think that it's a cost-benefit analysis. We have to analyze it properly. Maybe I want to send 100 CDs to someone. Do I take a taxi to the person's house or send by mobile money and pay just 1 CD or 50 pesos? So it's here and there. So to say that it's to have a blanket argument that is quite expensive, I think we can pick item by item and we can do we can do an analysis.
That's what I'm saying, because you're picking item by item. But you have to look at it
the average.
On
the average.
Because
so
for
the average, you'd say it is expensive.
Right, because if I'm,
you still don't.
You talk about cloud technology.
Yes, I talk
right?
about cloud. Yes.
Yeah, cloud technology. Okay, so then with that, again, to get those services,
it's expensive because previously I might have to get a server.
Yeah,
I have to get someone to manage it. Now I don't.
Right.
I think over the years it's getting cheaper.
No. Now you don't, because you're paying somebody over a month, right? So $10 a month or whatever.
Yes.
But then if you put it all together as one cost, because here to buy the server, to buy the server, say you don't rent the server.
Yes.
You buy it straight away.
Yes.
But with their technology, they will say, if they give you, let's say, 30 gig space for you to save your information up there, they will charge you $15 every month, right?
Yes.
If you times $15 by 12, you're paying it over bit. But then in the old days, you have to pay straight away. So either way, it's because they spread the cost.
Spread it,
so you think it's cheaper. But if you had to buy it straight away, then it becomes expensive, right? So for the average person, it is expensive.
I think I kind of agree, but I was expecting, and it's already we both.
It's not blanket. For me, it's not blanket. Blanket
but it's not blanket. But you have to admit that just because you and I can
if
afford
the technology was not available, if the technology was not available, it would have been more expensive. I'm giving you a typical example. Imagine I have to give someone 200 cedis. The person lives in Kaswa, I live in Accra.
You have to get
With
on a
mobile
taxi.
money, get on a taxi, waste
that
time.
now
No,
comes
but
to
how
20.
were we doing it before? You could have just put
And
the
it's
money in
more
the bank,
expensive,
right? You
huh?
could have put.
I'll
the
still
reason
have
why-
to go and queue in the bank,
But you see, this is what I was
take a
talking
taxi
about.
to the bank,
No,
go and
but you
queue
see,
in the bank.
But you said,
Yes.
you talked about mobile money.
Yes.
Why do we still have people using mobile money? Because there's unbanked people that are using mobile money. We should just make them have bank accounts, give them ATM cards for them to use. But because we've come up with mobile money, we haven't solved the problem why these people don't have accounts in the first place.
But the mobile money has become
It's-
a solution to
yes,
that
it's-
problem.
it's-
Right.
it's
But then,
connected to
so
the
if
banking
you're
system.
using the mobile money as a means,
No, just one example. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I'm saying like just one example. Like like
but
trying
we
to
didn't
use,
solve the problem, we just created a solution without solving that particular problem. Why do we have people that still cannot even open a bank? Because growing up in the UK, you can open a bank with £1,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And have an ATM card and nobody charges you.
Yeah.
But here, it's because the banks will charge you for even having just
An
a normal,
ATM, yeah.
just an ATM card, they will charge you. So then the average person would think, well, if it's going to cost me 5 cedi or 10 cedi every month just to have a card, then I won't put my money in the bank.
Well, I'm sure we can continue this one. I'm going to go on my very last break. When I'm back, the phone lines will be open. I'd urge you to call, contribute, ask questions, and then if we have answers, we definitely will give you the answers. I'm the new IT boss in town. I'll tell you a lot of things. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Technology. Well, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are still in the lounge, even though time is approaching our final bits. But we're here discussing technology and business today, and I'm still here with Asen and Andy, and it's been an interesting discussion so far. So I'll be going on the WhatsApp console, and at this point, the phone lines are open. And the number is 0555-657278. I repeat, 0555-657278. So I'll take this from, well, please add your name next time. Yes, I agree technology is expensive. However, once efficiently utilized and applied, results in improved processes, which, applied results in improved processes, which enables organizations increase productivity. In effect, revenue equally increases. The balancing effect of the revenue it generates outweighs the cost. All right, so please add your name next time so we can know who we are speaking with. So this is a text message coming from one of our people who are watching us from home. Okay, so let me ask you, which sector, this time, straight, which sector in this, through the COVID era till now, of course we are still in the COVID era, has benefited most? Which businesses have benefited most?
For me, I think it's the ISPs, the internet service providers. For me, by
The
far.
internet service providers.
And I would say fintech.
Fintech and the payments.
Yeah, the
payments.
So, because now you see how people order food,
Yeah.
they will pay online, they make money from it. So the fintechs have made money. I'll say logistics companies have also benefited because now food deliveries and all of those other stuff has made sure that we go into that route. And then I also say content providers. See, so when you look at your Netflix and all of those other, we stayed at home for almost a whole year.
Yeah.
You had to watch something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So those kind of people that could entertain us, also made money. I mean, the musicians also made money because they did tours in their homes. They didn't have to travel. They didn't have to pay so many people and just
save their hotel bills, save their travel bills and all that.
See, so those kind of agencies definitely made money.
Andy? I also think e-commerce was also good. Not the traditional e-commerce as we have in the West. Our e-commerce is more like you see it on Instagram. You call whoever is responsible. You struggle with the motor rider before you get your product.
That's with the directions there.
To get the right, to struggle. Yes, it's not like the straight up Amazon whereby you get it in your house before you realize and get a text message that it has been delivered. Yes, but it's maybe our African way, but we've had a lot of that that's really spent up. And as I say, of course, I agree with the payments too. We've had takeovers from Stripe for Paystack in Nigeria and then Flutterwave, all raising huge capital of, I think, $200 million, $170 million. So those are areas that clearly have benefited from this pandemic going forward. And going forward, in fact, because I don't think they are going to drop.
They
If
will
you look
continue.
at their share prices, they are all floating.
still-
floating.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
maintained the momentum up to now.
I
Yeah.
see. So technology again, generally. I am sure it has downsides. I mean, negatives. Can we look at what some of these downsides of technology when it comes to business are?
Well, data management can be somebody stealing your data, using it for God knows whatever they want to
Okay.
use it for. That is definitely a problem. People, again, using your information online to either blackmail you or, cripple your business. So, yes, it has its dark side, but again, that's more human problem than it's a technological problem. So it's a human being that's using that technology in a negative way. It's not the technology itself.
Okay.
So again, having data security is a problem, or the lack of data security is a problem. And then people having the ability to do phishing, where they will send you a clone of a particular website or bank
That's fraud.
interface. Yeah. So fraud.
Yeah.
So I would say digital fraud and all of those other stuff. But again, for me, it's a human problem.
And it's still
rather than-
happening.
It's still happening.
It's
That's
interesting.
still happening. I think
Sometimes
there's
I wonder
been-
how
Yeah.
anyway. You know, Andy, you were saying something.
Yeah, I think there, as you're saying, yes, there's been an increase in cybercrime, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of people are getting online to engage in very malicious acts, like, or we also have things like SIM swap, whereby someone can easily port your number. And normally when you are doing what we call the factor authentication, whereby sometimes you enter your password, they send a code to your phone. Normally text messages are not encrypted. So when the text message comes to you, it goes through, it's not encrypted. Whoever is sitting on an SSID machine in a telecom company can read it. It's not encrypted. But when you send something on WhatsApp or Facebook, they are encrypted. You can only decrypt it with an endpoint. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a bit technical. But yeah, so basically what I'm saying is, yes, it's the cybercrime concerns. I don't want to bring your issue of unemployment. I think
Bring it. It's a big issue for me, seriously. Andy, it's a big issue for me.
I think we've discussed it.
Yeah.
Yes, but broadly, I think it's the increase in cybercrime and how we can manage internal risk. So internal risk has to do with within the organization, external people trying to hit you, and then compliance, which has to do with data integrity and data protection laws, which
So
are
it's
mainly
actually not as
policy-based.
simple as that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite huge when it comes to the downsides as well.
Yes, it's quite.
So currently, what are some of the so what kind of technology is trending?
So cloud computing is definitely trending. You've got AI, augmented reality. So now you can go to a certain...
This is where I'm tempted to ask you what those mean. AI.
AI,
Okay,
right.
no.
So
Okay, yeah.
artificial intelligence,
Okay.
right? And the beautiful thing about artificial intelligence is just data reading algorithms, right? So if I know how you go online, things that you buy, how you buy them, and all of that, I'm able to use that information to predict products that you're going to buy, right? So I mean, there's been communications where sometimes you'll be talking to somebody, like today that we met, you mentioned my name. You'll be surprised that when you go home, you log on to Facebook, and then Facebook will tell you that, oh, this is somebody you should know. Therefore, my name just comes up. So you'll be thinking, how is that? Your phone is picking up things that you don't know.
Okay, so you see, sometimes I don't like to talk to people like you because then you scare me to some extent. But again, I find it interesting. It's fun.
But that's the reality.
Yeah,
That's the reality.
Even Facebook is suffering that. You know, there's been a
Because,
data breach in
I've seen
Facebook.
something on Google especially
Yeah.
where I pick my phone, I'm thinking of something that I want to go search.
Yes.
Then I get on Google, and interestingly, it is
pops up.
suggested to
Yeah,
me,
it's-
and I'm
it's
like,
not- it's not
okay,
spiritual.
so
Yeah, it's not spiritual, it's technology. But, not to scare you, even on the whole augmented reality side of things, there's a hotel now that when you go, they've got a QR code on the desk or even on the paper, right? So you scan it, then the menu will come up, you order your table, and the food comes to you. So COVID is what allowed these things to happen. So
We have that now in
yeah,
Ghana here.
in Ghana here,
Starbucks
exactly.
is doing
So,
that.
they doing it.
Yeah,
So
they're
you
doing
see,
that.
so those are things that are moving. So those augmented reality, I'll say, nowadays people can actually, like this whole studio, you could have created it, put it into a different format. VI, people can just get into and do so many creative things, right? So for me, I think that's where we move into. We have to, cloud technology, AI, name it, it's just going to happen. That's the trend.
I imagine soon I have a call and I just have to do this and I'm talking. You know, because it definitely will get to a point where I won't need this whole thing. I mean,
Right,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then if you look at the watch you're wearing, your watch right now is picking up your heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
Everything else is, so it can get to a point that it will predict if you were going to get a heart attack, right? And then send a message to your doctor ahead of time or warn you that, you know, there's,
Yeah,
you know,
watch
there's a
out- watch
problem
out
with,
for this or that,
exactly.
yeah.
So it predicts that the next 6 or 7 days, this was going to happen, right? And we have to move towards that direction. I like the fact that you talked about spiritual, because in our part of the world, if that happens, somebody would think, oh, it's some juju thing, but it isn't. It's just this technology picking up your
Picking up,
pulses
yeah.
and reading it and then understanding that, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
And then it allows you to talk to your doctor in time. See, so we are moving in the right direction. People should not be scared about technology. We should be more worried about the human behind the technology and what it is that they're going to use the technology for.
We should be worried about the humans behind the
the
technology,
technology, yeah.
especially those who create it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are the spirits.
Those are the
And just to add to that,
Yeah.
yes, on the training technology,
Yeah.
I think right now there is AI, machine learning coming together to form robotics,
Yeah.
which is also an area that is moving very fast. It's a lot of people are using, a lot of companies are using RPA, that is robotic process automation, to kind of do repetitive processes that are, let's say for instance, you want to create users in a system, you want to delete users, which are repetitive. You do them over a while. People are now creating a lot of robots to be able to do that. So I think that's the future too. In the
He's
future,
going to talk about unemployment.
yeah. It's going to create the unemployment. And we should be training more
Right.
more robotics students
Than
instead
anything
of
else, right.
looking for robotic
No, but
robotic
you know,
lectures.
but you know the key issue for me, I agree. I said already that
I think
to be
we
able
are
to find
over,
a name for
yes, I
sulfur
think we
in
are
tea, I
over
don't think it's-
prioritizing it. We are
Yeah.
overemphasizing
Yeah.
it. We
Yeah,
should be
I
looking
totally
more
agree with
of
you.
robotics teachers, looking for machine learning teachers
Right.
instead of chi and ga and
So I-
And drone technology as well.
and drone.
That-
Yes.
So then I'm very sure that if I were to ask technology, you know, has it been more of a blessing or a curse? I shouldn't even be asking, listening to you guys.
Oh, for me, you know where I stand. I think.
Yeah, it's
I
been a
think,
blessing.
It's been a blessing.
It's opened our eyes to a lot of things.
A lot of
that,
things.
You
It's been
know,
a blessing.
um,
There are downsides to everything,
Everything,
but
but,
it's clearly, I mean, it outweighs the curse. Yeah.
Okay, so talking about business, should every CEO be I mean, now, let me put it this way: should every CEO have to be tech savvy?
They don't have an option. I think for now,
but define tech savvy though.
tech savvy should be able to use technology to implement their vision.
But isn't that
implement
what you
their
need a
strategy.
CTO for?
Yes, but
Because
if
your chief technology officer.
If the CEO doesn't buy in, the CEO doesn't know what you're talking
They
about.
probably won't find a need.
Yeah,
for
they
that.
might not find the need.
No, but you see, the problem is,
Yeah.
if because of the way technology is going now, old business needed a CEO and an operational manager, right?
Yes.
And an operational manager was the one that was convincing the CEO that they need technology,
Yeah.
right? And the CEO has to figure out how the technology is going to help the company. But if you have a CTO, like a proper chief technology
Information, yeah.
officer,
Yeah.
they understand the trends that are happening.
But most of those people are reporting to finance directors, if you realize.
So the problem is organizational structure. It's not the CEO.
Yes.
Because
Most
for
of the
me,
CIOs are reporting to the finance director.
And they are very frustrated in
And
the
then
end.
so-
Yes.
So
So
shift-
if the CEO himself, if the leader knows where he wants to go.
So there's a caller on the line. Let's pick this line.
Yeah.
So good evening, caller. Your name and where you're calling from, please. Hello, caller. Your name and where you're calling from. Well, I'm sure we've lost the caller, but I'm hopeful that the caller calls back. Unfortunately, also we don't have any much time, so I'll take your last words, and then maybe we should have another episode. But we'll see. We should get calls from us, and then we can talk again. So your last words, and then we can move.
Well, I think it's been a good discussion, and technology has come to stay. There's very little we can do about that.
So we should just embrace it and go.
We should embrace it, but we should be thinking of how we are developing our human capital. I think it's very critical, so that we don't have that gap going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
for me, I would say evolve or die, right? And technology is here. We just have to set the parameters in place and how we implement it. Do an audit of your company. Why do you need the particular technology? Is it going to help you grow? And over time, as opposed to, you buying it right now. Know how you want to roll it out in that sense.
Well, this is all that time will allow us to bring you. But the one thing that I pick from this is that, yes, you want to evolve. Don't look too much beyond. Look around you. We can start from there. So we're going to be back next week with another exciting episode. We hope you have a good weekend. Please stay safe. The COVID is still around. And if you've not gone for your vaccine, please go for it. I need you alive. I want you to be watching me all the time, and I need to be talking to you. I want to bring you more information. All right? So we'll draw the curtains now. We'll see you next week. Please be safe.